Before we start the interview with Ian and Marcus, here's a look at the Holina Holistic Care Center that Ian runs in Thailand. Then we'll jump into the interview.
Yo, welcome.
Hey.
Ian Young.
Thank you.
As if by magic.
Well, yeah.
All the way from Thailand.
I am from Thailand, yeah.
And here you are.
And I am here.
Were you originally Brighton? There was a Brighton connection before Thailand.
No, I'm not from Brighton, but I'm from North London, geographically born in Barnet, which, for those that don't know, is between Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, I support the Saracens. But my connection to Brighton is that a lot of the guys that I hung out with in my using days emigrated down to Brighton.
Yeah.
So Brighton I would consider the cool side of London.
Yeah.
And it's got good vibes down here. I don't get here nearly enough, but I do like it.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's nice. And so, I mean, your story now, you're living in Thailand, and I mean, we'll get to that in the story. Maybe we should start earlier on. So where did you have your kind of youth?
Raised in North London in Barnet.
Okay, yeah.
Moved around a bit with my dad and my mum, and ended up living in Radlett, going to secondary school. That's really where I started messing around and fooling around. Ended up getting expelled from school.
Wow.
For burning down the fifth form block.
That will do it.
Though they couldn't prove it.
Yeah.
They knew it, but they couldn't prove it. So the official reason why I was expelled was because I hadn't attended sports for 3 years, games. I just stopped going. I didn't like getting a stitch when they kept getting us running.
Yeah.
So that was the official reason why I was expelled. And I was expelled like a couple of months before O-levels. But they let me come back just to sit my O-levels.
Okay.
And the funny thing was that I forgot my calculator for maths. In those days, you brought a calculator in.
Yeah.
And I forgot it on the day.
Oh, shit.
And I got a C for maths.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty good.
Without your calculator?
Pretty good without calculator.
Pretty impressive.
So I resat it 6 months later with a calculator, and I still got a C.
So that says
That's
something.
interesting. Yeah,
that is.
I didn't get many O levels.
Yeah.
I got maths, I got English, I got history. I think I got geography.
Wow.
Music. I got music.
Were you interested in being a musician at any point? Because I noticed you're a DJ as well on your Facebook profile.
Yeah, no, I was a DJ. I've come from a very musical family, actually. My cousins, one of them is a pretty famous conductor for symphony orchestras. One of them is in a band that won MOBO awards. One of them is a jazz musician and a studio jazz musician. And, pretty known in the music world as a studio musician. One of them is more of an actor and he does theatre and his wife does as well. She's magnificent, Jenny. And but it was also a singer with a band.
Wow.
And then another one is a more famous actor who recently I saw in season 2, episode 3 of Andor.
Oh, wow.
You know, the Star Wars set.
Yeah.
And I was watching it in Thailand thinking, that's my cousin. And
Wow.
he plays a villain.
Yeah.
I won't go into it, but he's only in one episode. He plays the villain. And I was looking at it going, hey, that's Adam.
Oh, God.
So I'm ever so proud of him. So I got this whole family of musicians. And my dad taught me the piano, and I used to play the trumpet and the trombone. When I did my music O level, I learned it as a conductor.
Wow.
That was my
Yeah.
instrument, learning how to conduct. So I was always interested in music. I self-taught myself to play the guitar.
Jeez.
And then went off busking around Europe on a Eurorail card when I was 16.
That's cool.
It is kind of cool. Me and my mate, two of us with guitars. He had his passport nicked off him somewhere when we were sleeping on a beach. And we got as far as, we went all the way like through France. We went to Holland, Paris, France, Italy, Venice, and then went into Yugoslavia. This is how old I am. It was Yugoslavia at the time, before it was all broken up. And we went to Beograd, and in Beograd we were busking, and we earned millions and millions of dinar.
Yeah.
And couldn't afford a cup of tea.
Oh, God.
And we had ambitions to go and busk our way all the way to Greece.
Yeah.
But at that point, we realised we were never going to survive. So we actually turned around and came back to Italy and carried on messing around in France and Italy.
Gosh. So you had quite an interesting youth.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been colourful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been adventurous and playful. And I believe when opportunity knocks, to nod and say yes.
Yeah, to go with it.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And then, so how did the lifestyle evolve from there then?
Do you know what? When I got expelled from school, my father said to me, okay, go get a job or you can leave the house. And me, in defiance, said, okay, I'll just leave the house.
Wow.
And that's not to say that my dad didn't love me. It was just he set me an ultimatum that he probably wouldn't have followed through on, but I was stubborn enough to go, screw you, I'm going to do my own thing. So I moved out of the house at the age of 16 and started squatting.
Wow.
And I started squatting in St Albans. And there was a whole bunch of us, a bunch of punks, one of whom I'm meeting tomorrow for lunch, and she wants to take me to I-360.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whatever that is, she's been living down here.
That's the big needle lookout point on the Brighton beach.
Allegedly, I'm going to find out tomorrow. But I haven't seen her. I was thinking about this. I haven't seen her since probably I was 19.
Yeah. And you were punks, were you?
And we were punks together, yeah.
Wow.
So I only really see everyone through Facebook these days. So a load of us were squatting, all of us sort of in our mid-late teens, early 20s. And a lot of them I'm still in touch with today. Sadly, a few of them have died with various reasons, but all the ones that I'm in touch with are all ever so aspiring in their lives. They've all kind of done something creative, and it's really cool to stay in touch with these guys. And at some reason, I was there for, I don't know, maybe 18 months in St Albans, and at that time, no, it was longer. I'll tell you what happened. I said to my dad said get a job or move out, so I moved out. Started squatting. And enrolled in college, and that's where I set my. That's where I did my maths GCSE, and
so you were rebellious, but not completely.
I still had. Well, I had nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So I enrolled in college, studying politics, media studies, and drama, and psychology, and maths. And anyway, what's important is, on the second day of my day in college, I was elected vice president of the student union.
Wow.
Right. And then
they must have really seen what a special character you are.
No, I think I was just I had a Mohican at the time.
Well,
it's just somewhat colourful character that gave it a go. And had a great time at college, squatting at night and messing around at college during the day. And at the end of the first year, I wasn't really doing very much with my studies. The only one I was really attached to is drama. And so I kind of dropped out a lot of things. And psychology I held on to a little bit. in the second year, I was then elected president of the union.
Whoa.
And that was a sabbatical job that paid me. So I kind of dropped out of most of my studies and just became the president of the student union. And I was getting rather involved with student politics on a national level, the National Union of Students. So I was going to their conferences, and I created my own political party, right, called the Libertarian Socialist Division.
Oh, I love that.
Which, of course, stood for LSD and was about the attitude of partying because that's all there is to do.
Right.
Massively influenced at some point by Big Audio Dynamite.
Yeah.
Mick Jones from The Clash started making this new sound with Don Letts, who I happened to meet last week in Glastonbury, and I'd said to him what an influence he'd been. Massive influence on me musically. Here was a punk that was making electronic music that was very melodic for me, and it gave me permission to soften and move away from being this punk into dropping ease and becoming a raver.
Yeah.
And so the Libertarian Socialist Division was my kind of political side of this, of you know, let's all be kind to each other. The politics of LSD was very positive, and the politics of ecstasy is very the politics of LSD is very logical, and the politics of ecstasy is very positive. So mixing this logic with positivity about, you know, what could possibly be happening for the future of our youth of today. And because I had the word socialist in Libertarian Socialist Division, the left unity groups of the political side of the students were trying to enroll me like these are the socialist worker types. And they were the second largest group after the Knowles, which is the National Labour students, of which Stephen Twigg was the president at the time, and I'm still in touch with him. He's an MP at the moment, and I think he's great. He's one of the first out gay MPs, and it was very clear that he was gay, and I just loved his energy. And I write to him every now and again on Facebook and check in with him on policies and things. So I came from this great stock, and there was this guy there, the only member of the leading committee that was a Tory, the young Tories, was this guy called Cosmo. I didn't really know him, but he was in charge of the entertainments, like putting on the National Union's fundraising and events and things. And the Left Unity candidates wanted to present me as their candidate to stand against Cosmo.
To represent.
And I'm Libertarian Socialist Division. I'm all about doing the party. That's why you're perfect for putting on this position. I'm going, okay. But they were missing the point of what I was representing, which was about let's take drugs and have a good time. And this is all crazy. So as I got promoted, and actually I then became the chair or the president of all of the Hertfordshire universities and campuses, which meant I was covering like 15 different F&E and H&E, higher education and further education campuses. And so I'd go up to all these different places and I'd represent, and you know, I was there with them. I think my Mohican was turning into dreads at the time. And meanwhile, I'm squatting in St Albans and just rocking up and going around. And this is my first legal job. This is my first job, right? And I'm massively into it, and I'm figuring that there's, you know, this is something that's going to lead me somewhere. I'm 17, 18, 19 years old. Our squat gets busted, and it often got busted. But it got busted on one particular occasion, and I wasn't there. I was holding down a job, and the police knew me. I got arrested 30, 35 times in St Albans just for dropping acid and walking around the streets off my tits. You know, sniffing glue and being found up on a construction site. You know, drunk and disorderly on a Friday night. I was known to the police, and they didn't really give me any. You know, they'd haul me down, they'd hold me in overnight, they'd let me go the next day.
You weren't in trouble. You just.
I was just off my head. They knew me by my name.
They're like, "Hello, Ian."
And I could have those conversations with the bobbies on the beat. You know, I'm a total mess, but it's just how it was. So they busted the squat a number of times looking for drugs, and I was never there, and they looked into why I was never there, and they found out I was the president of the student union. And one night they busted the union, and they found my supply of cannabis and hash. And this is like 1989, 1990. And at that point, I was held and given an ultimatum by the college itself, the president of the college, he said, look, you're bringing the union into disrepute. You're dealing from our offices, from site, from campus. You're going to need to resign, or we're going to need to let the police do their thing.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that I was really disillusioned with society.
Yeah.
Getting expelled from school was just a laugh. But this was a job that I was passionate about and that I was succeeding in.
Yeah.
And that I felt really connected to politically, emotionally, spiritually. This was something that I could do. And yet I felt that I had been infringed on. And this conflicted with my acid logic of how society should treat someone that's passionate about doing something. Cannabis, hashish, it wasn't a dangerous drug. It's not like it is today. The skunk that we're smoking today, well, I don't smoke it, but is so genetically modified.
Full of chemicals.
There's nothing organic about it anymore. It's so, it's
like
crazy. The strength of it it's nuts. It's no wonder we get so many people in treatment
psychosis
for weed
and stuff.
But the hashish of the day back in those days was soft and mellow. And it was a warm, fuzzy feeling. Now, I was using a lot of drugs, and I'm not trying to defend anything, but I'm not anti-drugs. I'm 24 years sober, but I'm not anti-drugs.
24 years sober, Ian. Yeah, that's a long time, mate.
Well, I'll be 8,888 days in about a week or something.
Wow.
Yeah,
so how did you go from that to this?
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I'm not anti-drugs. I'm just pro-recovery for those that want it.
Yeah.
And I absolutely get and respect people's right to get high and to get intoxicated. I've got no problem with that. But if you need recovery, let's help you. That's my stance on it.
That's your ethos.
But off the back of the police intervention and the threat of some serious charges and the college telling me I had to resign. Overnight, I was so broken and I made a conscious decision, not unconscious, conscious decision to drop out of society.
Wow.
And I left St Albans and moved to, I went to Stonehenge Free Festival. And then I came back into the squatting scene in London, and I joined the squats of southeast London, Peckham, New Cross, Lewisham, Camberwell, that neighbourhood, and I immersed myself in the even more anarchic
off the grid living
counterculture. Absolutely. We had mates that were squatting the Dole House in Peckham, and we were squatting this bank at the time. There used to be a Midland Bank, and that's gone out of business. There's a Midland Bank in Peckham High Street at the junction with Peckham Rye Lane, and we squatted that. We used to go down into the vaults where the money was used to be held, and we used to just take speed for days and days on end and play thrash metal. And I tried to introduce them to dub reggae, but that was all good fun. And so now I was dropping out of society. I didn't even want to sign on. I didn't sign on the dole. I didn't want to give the government my details. I didn't want to give them anything. Whenever I was getting arrested, in those days you didn't need an ID. You didn't need to have any.
No, you didn't really. Did you?
So I just give blag names. The fake name that I'm best known for probably is Archibald Loam.
Loam.
which is if you call it short, it's Archie Loam. It's a Chillum.
Oh, Chillum.
A Chillum.
I like that.
So Archibald Loam. That was my fake name. That was my blag name that I used to give the police. So
wow.
As a punk, being turned on now by Big Audio Dynamite, Dropping Ease, in London, squatting, dreadlocks, crusty. I'm crusty. That's what I am. I'm a crusty squatter, but massively involved in anarchic politics.
How did you support yourself? Were you ever dealing and
I was dealing LSD.
I
was an acid dealer. I was pretty well connected. No blotters mostly.
Blotters,
but
ferns, strawberries. I've heard of some of those.
Look, I mean, I don't know ferns, but certainly strawberries. So actually, my market was largely grew out of the whirligig. You ever heard of the whirligig?
With the old tent thing?
Parachute?
Yeah, the parachute.
So I was a whirligigger.
Were you?
Yeah.
So if I would have gone there, I might bump into you.
If you'd have gone there, I'd have bought E off you and I would have sold hundreds of LSD every week. Hundreds. And then other gigs. I'd go to gigs and I was known for selling acid. That's how I met Steve Bedlam at the George Roby. I was selling acid for like £2, and he couldn't buy 100 for less than £3.
Yeah.
And I'm going, well, here you go.
Yeah.
But I was getting like 100 trips at a time. Well, I was getting more than that, but 100 trips was costing me like 70, 80 quid.
Wow.
For 100, and I was just flogging them for £2-3.
Yeah. So it's easy money.
So well, it was money that I believed in. I believed in the psychosis of LSD. I believed in the hallucinations.
Yeah.
One of the things I used to say was believe in the hallucinations, because I connected the logicness of what my mind had become through LSD and the positiveness that the ecstasy had given me, and I thought these were tools for living. This chemistry for life. So I was going around that. And then I was going out to festivals, free festivals, and doing all that stuff, and squat parties and alternative gigs, typically like Osrix, Hawkwind, Radical Dance Faction were good mates of mine. I'm very fond of them. Back to the Planet were a great band that I used to follow. Those sorts of pseudo-archic squatting gigs, and there's loads of reggae and dub involved as well. Some really cool dub sounds. And so musically, I was evolving, right? But the next year at the Stonehenge Solstice Free Festival, '91, we weren't able to get to the Stones, and we were moved to this site called Longstock.
Okay.
Right, and at Longstock there was these crazy people who had just a pyramid structure.
Yeah.
No tent, just the pyramid structure, the four wall, the three walls or whatever. And they were dancing under it. And they were dancing to this music that I didn't understand, that was techno music.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And they were called Spiral Tribe.
Yeah. Cool.
And I was spiraled the weekend that I met them at Longstock. And it happened to be their third event, their third party. And I was there and I saw them and I didn't understand the music, but I understood the vibe.
Yeah.
And when it rained, people stood under this pyramid, even though it had no shelter.
Yeah.
Even though it had no covers,
they
just stood under the pyramid as if it was going to protect them from the rain. It was beautiful, and I was spiraled that first weekend, and coming back to London after that, I was now seeing day-glow colours, but like London was grey, and I needed to shift away from this punk alternative space, and I was dedicating myself to ravers. Wow. And I came to the conclusion that ravers did far more drugs than punks.
Yeah.
So I
think they probably did.
I started breaking squats for Spiral Tribe.
Wow. So you were involved in their Spiral Tribe organisation, kind of saying, "Hey, I've got a place for you. Come on."
Yeah. If you read Mark's book, A Darker Electricity, Mark's the founder of Spiral Tribe. Okay. He references me quite a bit because of that interaction with, like I think the three most famous squats that I'm known for. The first one was in St George's Hill in Chobham Common, where we found this like gated community for millionaires, and one of them was empty, and we had like Cliff Richard as one neighbourhood, and then Engelbert Humperdinck as another neighbour. And we broke in, me and my mate Andy, and moved in the New Cross posse.
Shit.
And then started this party and invited the tribe down, and they joined us at the weekend, and the whole party went on. There's like 500, 600 people. And there was like a chandelier in this house with, I don't know, 1,000 crystals. And we took it down and we gave everyone a crystal. Oh, wow. And for years afterwards, people would see me at a party, they say, "Hey, I've still got the crystal." It was like a
special moment.
Yeah. And this party was on the news. We were on the Jonathan Ross show. He came down and interviewed some people. There's a YouTube clip somewhere of me being interviewed by ITV or someone, Channel 4, I don't know.
Wow.
But that wasn't the first. No, that was the second party that I squatted. The big squat that I did for the Spiral Tribe was called the Library.
Okay.
In Lewisham Library, which is on New Cross Road.
Yeah.
This was one of the tribe's big momentous parties.
Yeah.
And they all came in a week before and started decorating and day-glow painting it all and putting it all together. And I'd been staying with them as well, taking drugs in their squats up in West London, near West Hampstead.
Yeah.
Gristleton Road, Chippenham Road. And so I knew them all, and I said, hey, I'm going to break a squat for you. I've got this library. Here we go. And they came down and like, wow, this space.
Wow.
So we put that all together. That was that I think was in October or November. I think November.
Yeah.
And then the Millionaire's House was like a month later than that.
Gosh.
But the library was notorious. That had 2,000-3,000 people through it.
Now. This is before the repetitive beats.
Oh
film.
yeah. Well, not long before that.
Yeah.
This is why they.
Yeah.
But then, I think the third squat that's probably the most famous party that we did that year was the Roundhouse.
Okay. Wow.
In Camden.
The Camden Roundhouse.
So I got into the Roundhouse with some guys that I knew from the streets in Camden, and thought, wow, this has got potential.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Was it abandoned at the time or something?
Yeah, it was empty.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was empty. And we, if you go into the Roundhouse, at least I haven't been there for about 20 years, but if you go in there, there's a history of the Roundhouse and on the wall. And at one point, there's a flyer that comes from the party that we put together.
And they've included it in the history?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we went in there December 1991, and the first party was a Saturday, maybe the 21st. The second party was Christmas. The third party was the Saturday. The fourth party was New Year's Eve. And the first party was like 4,000 people. The second one was 5,000 people. The third one was 6,000 people. But then by the New Year's Eve, it was like 8,000 people
in the Roundhouse.
Well, they didn't all get in.
Yeah, no, I mean,
the whole of the area was all covered.
Flipping.
And it was getting really, really dodgy. This was during an experimental period of mine where where I was taking drugs, and I'd be awake for let me get this right. I'd be awake for like 16 hours on a trip.
Yeah.
And then I'd sleep for 4 hours, and then I'd wake up for 16 hours, and I'd be asleep for 4 hours. And I'd be, and this went on for 2 weeks because in the Roundhouse there was no natural light.
Right.
And we were just inside. So for 2 weeks, I didn't know whether it was day or night.
Flipping out.
I was just crashing for 4 hours every 16 hours or so, which isn't even a full day.
No.
But that was just the length of each. It's crazy. Mad times. And
sounds like you were enjoying them still at this point. You were
I'm having
it.
good times. Sex, drugs, and techno music.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what happened. At the end of the Roundhouse, it had been tough. We'd joined up with these guys at the Circus Warp, and they were cool. Circus Normal, and they were really cool. But the door had been broken into by some yardies or some gangsters, and they tried to nick money from the door, and they got a bit rough at the end.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, most of the tribe went off to Wales to do a ketamine thing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't invited, and I felt quite offended by that. I was like the 13th member of the tribe, and the other 12 went, and I didn't go.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I get it, but at the time I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And Steve Bedlam came up to me and said, "I'm starting a sound system." Now I'd known Steve a few years now. He's this guy that I used to sell acid to, and he says, "I'm starting a sound system," and I said, "I'm in." So I'm an original Bedlam boy. I don't know if you've heard of Bedlam, but I'm an original Spiral Tribe.
Oh, right.
There's my
I
tattoo.
didn't even know that, Ian.
And then I was original Bedlam boy.
Yeah.
And for the whole of the next 5 months, I was putting on Bedlam parties with that crew. Again, helping break the squats, but I was far more involved this time. Far more involved. And now I was going to the Whirly gig and going to these gigs, selling all my acid, but I was turning up to the free parties and giving away.
Wow! So it wasn't
hundreds
about
of trips.
For you. No, it was about sharing the love.
It was about the experience. It's about this is what we learned from acid, and giving away the profits because I was just taken care of by the sound system. So we were not only. Bedlam wasn't selling drugs; we were giving them away.
Giving them away, yeah. God.
But I was always still in touch with the tribe, and Bedlam and Spiral Tribe were very close. We were both in London, and we kind of saw each other every week, and would go to each other's parties and things. And then we worked all really hard throughout the beginning of '92, and then on the May Day weekend of '92. We all came together at this place called Lechlade and put on the first free festival of the season.
Wow.
And 20,000 people came out.
Flipping heck.
And it was, for me, the best weekend of my life.
Wow. Is that because of the people, the music,
because everything
the atmosphere?
that I'd been trying to put together since the summer before when I first met the tribe had come together for this event, and 20,000 people were there. And it was Bedlam, it was Spiral Tribe, it was a few other sound systems. It was our thing, and it worked.
Wow. That's when the government started getting worried that it's becoming a huge movement. When you get 20,000 people turn up to a gig, that's more than the police can deal with, right? So they want to squash it.
Well, I'll come to that.
Yeah.
So after Lechlade, they forced us out of, that was Somerset, I think, Lechlade. They forced us out into different counties. Anyway, Bedlam ended up on this site in Monmouth, next to the river.
Okay.
Further down the river, a couple of miles away, the tribe was sitting next to the river under a bridge. And we were there for 2 weeks or so. But then this date was coming up, the third week of May. And we were going to try and put this festival together, and we knew this was going to be massive. We knew this was going to be mental. We did a thing down in Wales in between, in this big quarry. The tribe did that one, and we joined them. There was things where we were just joining it up, but everyone came together. We came together on the A46, I think it was, the A Naughty Fix.
Yeah, Naughty Fix. I've heard of that. Jamie talked about that.
Circus Warp.
Yeah.
Which Jamie?
Jamie Mad Dog.
Oh yeah.
He was on my second show.
Okay.
And he talked about that with
Yeah.
Fond memories.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
And my mate Adam, the night before, had this dream about us putting on this festival on this place in Malvern Hills.
Wow.
And he shared about it with me and Eddie and Alex. But we didn't know anything more. He was from that neighbourhood. He said, but I had this dream last night about the Malvern Hills. We could do it there. Anyhow, that was that was just a kind of thing. Then it transpired that someone or other had a space, and our convoy of about 100 vehicles drove off. And what I later came to see was that there was 5 convoys that all converged on Castle Morton Common.
Yeah.
And we were the second convoy. I was driving the Bedlam bus. We were the second convoy to arrive. The first convoy arrived, and before it had completely filled up gone on to the common, our one was then arriving from the other direction and waiting for them to finish going in, then we were going in. Yeah. And before all of our vehicles had finished going in, another one had arrived from there.
Jesus.
And before all of them had come in, another one had arrived. So the 5 convoys didn't stop going onto the land from like the Thursday night through till sometime Friday afternoon.
There was just,
By which point there were so many sound systems there and so many vehicles there, nothing was going to stop us.
Yeah. There's too many people.
And then at the weekend, 38,000 people turned up.
Yeah.
And it became national news. It was all over the place. I avoided all publicity and photos and everything. Apart from, I think I appeared, there was a photo of me and some of the Bedlam boys sat outside our Blim bus that was on Time magazine or something,
really?
some magazine. It's just this one thing. There's my face there.
Yeah.
But other than that, I was nowhere to be seen. But after this party, where it made such big headlines and national news,
such waves,
I knew that we were going to get nicked.
So it was getting too big, was it?
I knew it was.
Yeah.
And I knew that they were going to do something.
Yeah.
And it was my duty to drive the Bedlam bus.
Yeah.
That was one of my roles. I didn't have any insurance, didn't have any documents for it, but I knew I was going to do it. I had to drive the sound system off the site. I mean, the party went on over a week. And I was arrested on that day.
Oh, shit.
I shared a cell with a guy from Conspiracy, another sound system, who was born on exactly the same day as me. And this was the first time I gave my real name when I was arrested. I'd never given my real name. I was arrested for poll tax writing, and I gave fake names. Yeah. I was arrested for all types of politically activated demos and stuff. And I never gave real names. But this time I thought it was 2 on top, and I gave my real name. And I got bail. Yeah. And I didn't do what Spirals did and sat outside and demand everything back. I just went back. And my bail conditions, me and Eddie, were quite strict. We had to sign on in Hornsey Road. I think I got bailed to my squat in Hackney, Mentmore Terrace. somewhere,
Yeah.
London Fields. My bail conditions was I had to sign on at Hornsey Road Police Station Monday, Wednesdays and Saturdays, which is quite difficult because the rest of the Bedlam crew was out in the West Country.
Yeah.
So my schedule that summer became
Jesus.
Monday I would pay off my dealer and I'd stay in London till Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesday I would sign on and I'd be in London.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, me and Eddie, with a fresh load of trips of acid, would hitchhike our way back to the site, wherever it was in the West Country, wherever we had to go. Stroud, Bath, Bristol, I can't remember, Taunton.
Floating around
all
that
over
area.
the place.
Yeah.
And we'd stay at the party till Saturday. And then we'd have to get a lift back to London just to sign on, where I would weigh in the dealer and pick up more trips and get back to the party Saturday night.
Jesus.
And then I'd sell lots of acid then. And then Monday I'd come back and weigh them all in again. So that's what I had to do all summer. It was a headache. And I hated the fact that someone had the power to put that
on
me and interrupt
that
the flow of my life. And I don't remember how or why, but knowing that I had charges over my head, we were charged with conspiracy to breach the peace,
That sounds kind of a bit...
to be a public nuisance, which at the time it was the most expensive court case that the government had ever taken against its people. But I got so fed up with it. There was a festival at the end of August in Romsey, and the police split the festival into 3 different sites. They split it all up. And somehow or other I managed to visit all 3 of them. But I went from one of them to the main one, and then I went to the other one. There was a girl with a bus who was leaving for Holland to go to a Rainbow Warrior gathering at the end of the weekend. And I said, I'm coming with. So I got myself smuggled out of the UK without a passport into Holland on her bus at the end of August, and to this Rainbow Warrior gathering. And the first night I was there, I had a cement sack and a bread sack for a duvet, for a blanket, and I was so cold that I went out, and by the next day I had 7 blankets to keep myself warm. And I learned that I needed to survive, I needed to take care of myself, and that I was now living on the road with nothing. No money, no income, nothing. Not even a passport. Just a bunch of friends going from festival to festival. And someone said, hey, I'm going to Berlin. I said, I'll come to Berlin. This German guy with a Trabant car, a little 2-stroke engine Trabant, took me and my mate Kelvin all the way to Berlin. And at Berlin, we knew that there was this group called the Mutoid Waste. And they were holding down this site on what's called this piece of land called Charity. Now, Charity, I don't know if you know Berlin, is the space between Checkpoint Charlie and the River Rhine, where originally the Reichstag stood before it was bombed and destroyed. Well, originally it was attempted to be burnt down by Hitler and blamed on the communists, and which triggered him getting the authority to become a dictator. But later on it got destroyed during the war as well. So it was a piece of land that was dead, and the Soviets had sown chemicals into the land so that nothing could grow, so that if anyone tried to run across it to escape from the east to the west, they could see you and shoot you. So this was dead land that the Mutoid Waste was squatting, because the wall had come down 6 months earlier or so. And suddenly East Berliners, were having this creative explosion. They were suddenly feeling free and exposed to Western democracy and the ideas of being able to do what they want without Big Brother watching them. And so Berlin at the end of 92 was a really special place to be. Really special. And I actually met someone at an NA meeting just last week. We had the first NA meetings at Glastonbury, who was also at Charity at that time. And we exchanged some stories. I ended up squatting in this old factory where they used to manufacture Gestapo uniforms, and the whole place had been painted yellow and black check. Just the whole thing was like a checkerboard of yellow and black, and it was on Augusta Strasse. And in those days in Berlin, to get a squat, you had to get a license to squat.
Oh, really?
And the license that we got
Yeah.
was to put on parties on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Wow.
That was our license.
That's so organised, the Germans.
Anyhow, I was mixing with the mutoid waste and loving this time in Berlin.
Yeah.
I remember fondly my time in Berlin was some of the happiest times I had. I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
I remember begging on the street, eine Marke bitte, because it was before the euro, just to get enough money for a multivitamin. I used to drink multivitamin and try and get enough for a sandwich.
Jeez.
But yeah, I was having a great time. Really, really happy, fond memories of Berlin. And one night there was this party, like Paul van Dyk DJ'd and some really cool German Frankfurt and Berlin DJs that
Sven and all them.
Sven Vath played. Some old names that that would remember, that they were coming down and playing there. This was before the Love Parade.
Love
this was
Parade
before
stuff.
that. And one night, I think it was a Sunday even, the site got the police came down. The riot police came down to stop the party.
Wow.
And I'd never seen riot police as serious as this.
Yeah.
The ones in the UK had truncheons and wore helmets with visors, but these ones, they
they
came
don't
in a
fuck about.
battalion. They didn't. They came in a battalion. I think, if memory serves, it was like 6 by 6, so 12 in a battalion, and each pair had a different weapon.
Yeah.
An electric prod, a baton, a sword. Small arms. Each of them had a different weapon. So there was like 6 different weapons, 12 guys, and there was many of these battalions that all walked in.
Yeah.
And we knew, or at least we believed, they were serious.
Yeah.
You know, the mutoid race, they're a hardcore crew of punks, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing that they did was they built car henge at the Stonehenge festivals, where they take a car, 2 cars,
Stick it in
and make it into a henge system. And they've done this out here with Panzer tanks
Jesus.
in the shape of the henges.
Fucking hell.
And they even had a MiG jet fighter, which they painted day glow
Where do
and
they get this
planted
stuff
nose
from?
first into the ground. You know, it's quite a spectacular spectacle.
Sounds like you had quite an interesting. What were you in your 20s back then?
21,
21,
maybe?
22. But I want to make sure we get to the bits where things started going off the rails.
Yeah, we'll come to that. I'll tell you how we get to that as well.
Okay, go on.
So I met up with this guy, Welsh Nigel,
Yeah.
and he had this battle bus, it was called. It was just this converted Mercedes truck, and it was super sexy. And, I won't go into all the stuff. You can hear about that in my book if you're that interested.
Tell us about the book.
The book's just my autobiography. It's called It's Not About Me,
It's not about me.
which is a great name for an autobiography.
I love that. I love that.
But it's called It's Not About Me
Yeah.
because we're doing this out of sequence. But when I got into recovery, I realised my head popped out of my arse, and I realised the world doesn't revolve around me.
Okay.
So
That's quite
it's-
a big revelation for yourself.
Yeah. So It's Not About Me is actually about the spiritual principles of
Wow.
me coming to realise that I'm moving from selfishness to selflessness.
Yeah.
So it's not about me.
where
Confessions
could-
of a recovered drug addict from living hell to living big. And
Where
I
can
haven't even
someone
got to
find
the-
that book if they want
You,
to?
you can download it for free. is the best way from ian-young.com
Ian-Young.com.
or sober-services.com.
Okay.
You can buy it on Amazon, but I've got no affiliation. I don't sell it. I don't have any hard copies. I don't make any money from it.
I'd like to read about it.
But it's a great book. I'm
Sounds
really proud
like
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
But anyway, from Berlin, we stole a truck. I won't tell you about you can read about the stories of what we did with that truck in the book when I met the Russian army, and that was a whole other story. Literally met the Russian army, and I'm stood there with piles of Russian gear on in my arms, and I'm thinking they're going to shoot me, but they read about that in the book. It's a funny story. And we went from there to Paris. To Amsterdam, back to Amsterdam. And there I was squatting on a place called Gevleweg, which was the known marketplace for drugs, for drug trafficking and smuggling across Europe. It was a load of hippies, including British hippies, and that were plotted up on this site. And it was known to be the place to go to pick up drugs or to sell your large quantities
but
of
we're not
drugs,
talking about
and then
a
transport
rap
them.
or two. We're talking about weight.
Yeah, we're talking about weight.
Yeah.
And then transport them across Europe. And so I was connected.
Yeah.
I was connected. And I was living on this squatted boat that was owned or squatted by Bones. So Bones' boat. And there was a bunch of us that were there. And whilst we were there, the Spiral Tribe had their charges dropped in the UK. And so by default, I realised that my charges were now dropped. But I was still without a passport.
Yeah.
Someone had brought me a fake passport. But and they came out to Paris, to Holland and joined us at Amsterdam. And we put on this party. Bones used to put on a full moon party every month with a free acid punch. And the tribe came out and they joined in this party. And what was left of the tribe, because the sound system was impounded, but these were some of the kayaks. We then put on a party in Amsterdam. Yeah. We then went to, and I rejoined them. We went to Rotterdam, put on some parties there. And then from there, we drove down to Paris. And I speak French.
Yeah.
When I was living with my parents, my dad spent a year and a half living in Paris, and I'd lived there when I was like 9, 10 years old. So I spoke French. And so I was, suddenly immersed in this, and that I became the sound and light and the lighting engineer for the tribe. So I was putting up all the terrastrobes, the flower strobes, the smoke machines.
Yeah, the cool stuff.
So I had stuff to do, had a purpose, and I was the translator. But in Paris, we put on this party, and all these French cheesy quavers turned up and blew our mind. There was maybe 500-600 of them that turned up to our first party. And they just looked so cheesy. It was beautiful. Yeah. Just beautiful. And from there, the parties in Paris took off. They went mad. We were getting 2,000, 3,000 people at these parties in Paris. And we stayed in Paris until it got too cold. Yeah. And then we said, well, we're going to drive down to Spain for the winter. So we drove all the way down through the Pyrenees into Barcelona. And then from there, we went to Valencia. And in Valencia, I'd tried cocaine before, but in Valencia, there was abundance of cocaine. And the first time I had a cocaine session, I'd had it before, but the first time I had a session, I met this off-duty policeman who took me off with him for the afternoon to do cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said, well, in the week I work as a policeman, and when I don't work as a policeman, I do whatever I want. And, so that was my exposure to cocaine for the first time. And whilst I was living in Valencia with the tribe, this is 1993, I was still heavily taking lots of acid. I was known as the acid kid. I was just known for that. I've been dealing acid for so long that was what people knew me for. And so part of my identity was about being the acid kid. But whilst I was there in Valencia, I went into psychosis.
Oh, shit.
I went into paranoid psychosis, and it affected me for maybe 6-7 weeks. And I was really scared about my sanity. And I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to share it. I just knew that I was getting more and more caught up in my head. And people could see me isolating, but no one really spoke to me about it. Yeah. And I got exposed to cocaine. And at some point I made this mental cognitive shift that I didn't want to take drugs that made me lose control anymore. I wanted to start taking drugs that gave me control. Right. That made me feel in control. Yeah. And I started dedicating myself to coke, because cocaine gave me a sense of power and confidence and strength and cognitive awareness that mixed with the logic and the positiveness of LSD and ecstasy gave me this new destiny.
A whole new direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we came out of Valencia, we went to the south of France, and our parties there were enormous. The French just loved us. They loved us. We were having thousands of people coming every week. And I became a DJ and I started playing. And at some point, I was having such a good time with French ladies. Yeah. And I was having such a good time chasing cocaine. I met up with some French guys, and they invited me to create the first French techno sound system which we called Les Nomades. Nomads. Started with these guys, Merwan, Benoit, Willie Man, Gua, a handful of us. And many of them are still in my life. Gua and Willie Man have sadly both died. But we started this French sound system. And we were very successful as this French sound system. There was another one called OQP from Marseille that started shortly after. And then there was another one called Psychiatric from Montpellier that started. And the Spiral Tribe, we were going to all their parties and we were doing our own parties, and everyone was collaborating in it. And this really was the era for me of French chicks cocaine. And
Were the women an addiction as well? Because they kind of go with the
not
cocaine.
at that time. They weren't really an addiction, but they were an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And gave me lots of confidence. The dark side of the Nomads was that Marvin and Willie Man and they had heroin habits.
Right. Yeah.
And the dark side that no one knew was that actually we were doing smack.
Yeah.
And we were fueled by heroin. And although everybody could see us high as hell on cocaine, no one saw that we were using heroin. And that's where my habit started, 1993.
So you had a coke and a brown habit.
Well, believe me, the brown was more important at that time.
Mm.
The coke was what I was searching for, but the brown I had to have.
Yeah.
Again, I never ran out of heroin or cocaine. I always had ways and means. We were dealing.
Were you smoking it, chasing it, or
we were snorting heroin,
yeah.
and I'd started experimenting with injecting cocaine.
Oh, wow.
And as I was a successcial DJ with the Nomads, and I played with Bedlam, I played with the Tribe, I played with all these other sound systems, and I created my own sound. And at the end of that summer, I now had a heroin habit, not an addiction, but a desire for French chicks. I had a particular girlfriend called Gail, very fond of her, and the Tribe went off to join the Mutoids in Italy, and I said, I'm having too much of a good time, I'm staying here with the Nomads. And we settled in Montpellier initially, and then later I settled in Toulouse as my DJ name, Degenerate.
Yeah, I like that.
And built a whole scene for myself as Degenerate from Toulouse, with the Nomads coming down, or I'd go out and see the Nomads, and I'd go off to join the Bedlam and the Spiral parties, and I created a life for myself for 6 years in Toulouse.
Wow.
Sex, drugs, and techno music.
Yeah.
And I had a girlfriend there, and I was living in her house, and life was good. But we were holding down heroin habits.
Was it manageable still? Was it still fun?
It was manageable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was dealing a lot and playing records. I never really knew if people were coming to my gigs, and I get, typically 2,000 people at a gig of mine.
Yeah.
If you put my name on the flyer. So I was doing good work, and then if I sometimes I played with some big names. Excuse me. I played with Carl Cox, Jeff Mills, Laurent Garnier.
I know Lauren.
Big
He's
names.
good. He used to live in Brighton.
I love Lauren.
Yeah.
Great sound. I got around, but I was essentially selling drugs.
Yeah.
And over those 6 years, my heroin habit was I'd wake up to half a gram, and I was probably doing 1.5 grams a day throughout the day, and using as much coke as I wanted because I had it on tap. And over those years, they were good years, and I was living my dream as a DJ, right down to every DJ's dream, getting your dick sucked while you're playing.
Yeah.
All that sort of
Standard.
stuff. All that sort of stuff. And I watched 11 of my mates get picked up by the police from my crew, and I knew that they were looking for me.
Yeah, they're trying to find where it's coming from.
And they never knew where I was.
Yeah.
Because
were you always on the move, having to watch your back?
Well, I was with this girl, but I was in and out of people's houses and stuff, and we lived outside of Toulouse. And what happened, we split up. She left me and broke my heart.
Yeah.
It crushed me. She ran off with another DJ. So I lost my house, and I lost a lot of my DJ contacts with this other guy, and I was furious. And that spiraled my desire to
harm.
Yeah, to get high.
Yeah.
It just sent me crazy. All I could do was get high to just blot out this great remorse and sadness that I was feeling, having lost this girl that I'd been with for 4 years and was committed to. She crushed me.
Yeah.
She didn't do it on purpose, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know why she left me. She never told me. So I was crushed. My using escalated, and I watched all these other guys get nicked.
Yeah.
I was getting more and more desperate at that point. As my crew's getting arrested, although I've still got
getting smaller.
The crew's getting smaller. The at some point the supply is going to get cut off.
Yeah.
Now we knew that the head of our supply, he was the son of the chief of police.
Oh,
so
wow.
he was fairly protected, but that didn't necessarily protect us.
No.
It only protected the source of
Yeah.
drugs that were coming in from Spain or down from Holland.
Mm.
And I'll tell you a little story. One night, 6 of us took 2 transit vans north to Normandy and went scrumping.
Scrumping?
Didn't you ever go scrumping for apples when you were a kid?
No, but it sounds like apple
Where you
picking.
jump up into an orchard, you
Yeah.
nick a load of apples, you take them home.
Oh, right. No, I've never done that.
We did that with poppy heads
Oh, right.
and came back with 2 van loads full of poppy heads.
Where do poppies grow in Europe? I didn't realise.
Yeah, this is pharmaceutical poppies
right,
to
yeah.
make codeine, to make opium.
Jeez.
And we came back with
Yeah.
2 van loads full of
Yeah.
with poppy heads and made 13 kilos
Wow.
of what's called rashashar, which is a low-grade opium.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, and that lasted us a few months. Because we
This
didn't
was all for personal.
we didn't really sell it. We just used it for ourselves. At the end of that, I came out of that with such a high dependency
Fuck.
that I needed about 3 grams of heroin a day.
Jesus.
And now I was in trouble.
Yeah, because that's.
Now I was in trouble. My group's getting arrested. I know they're looking for me. And 1999, November, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
I'm having a party. I've got 2,000 guests coming to my party. And I knew the police were going to be there. And I didn't show up to my own party.
Shit.
And I got smuggled into Spain.
Wow.
And from Spain, some stuff happened.
Yeah.
Things went down. I tried to do some detoxing and it didn't really work.
Did you have
Wasn't
a
really
few
successful.
attempts at kind of getting clean? Or
Yeah, I had a few efforts. I had a number of efforts, but this is now the beginning of where I've now got a huge habit and I do not have the resources to support myself anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm now going to start getting desperate
Yeah.
to get what I need to get in order to feel what I need to feel. Managed to get smuggled back to the UK on a boat from northern Spain.
Wow.
Now I'm more wanted in Europe than I am in the UK.
Yeah.
Although my charges are dropped in the UK. But in Europe, another DJ,
You wanted across
another
multiple
DJ
countries.
who had been picked up had literally grasped me up
Oh, fuck.
as the guy that was importing ketamine, which I wasn't doing at that time. But he had used my name, Jan, which is my French name, not Ian, but Jan. And the only name he had for me was Nerat, as in degenerate. So the police search warrant was for a guy called Jan Nerat.
Jesus.
And I saw the imposition
Yeah.
that the guy, I saw his, I don't know how, someone sent it to me. But I saw it all, and I was furious that the guy had grasped me up.
Yeah.
He was someone that I used to inject cocaine with and use lots of drugs with, and it just balanced on me. Balance. But now I got myself back into London, and I have a huge habit and no means to support myself. And this is where it gets dark. So now I'm in West London, trying to hold it together, committing petty crimes, committing dodgy deals, doing all types of breaking and entering and shoplifting and just stuff
Desperate
to do
shit.
what I needed to do each day to get what I needed to get. £10 at a time.
Yeah.
£10 at a time. And now I'm becoming the junkie archetype that we read about, where I'm just becoming a nasty guy.
Yeah.
I'm becoming this person that I don't like.
Yeah. That must be the worst bit, when you're turning into something you're despising.
I know I got to a point where I could no longer tolerate this person that I'd become. I hated who I was and what I was doing and how I was treating people that I knew loved me. How I was manipulating and lying and cheating and taking advantage of these people, family and friends that were just trying to help me. And this is where I start trying different methods to get clean.
What methods did you try?
Well, the typical one is going to doctors and trying to blag drugs.
Yeah.
Going to nurses and trying to blag drugs. Going to nurses and trying to get them to send you to a doctor to blag drugs. I ended up being at the methadone clinic in Paddington Caravans.
Yeah.
I got stabilised on 50 mils of methadone, which in these days is quite low, but in those days was more than sufficient.
Yeah.
When you're scraping together £10 at a time, 50 mils is all right.
Yeah.
But the inconvenience of having to go there every day to go and get it meant that my life was stuck. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion that at 50 mils a day, they were only going to take me down 1 mil a week.
Wow.
That's a year.
Yeah.
And so it became easier for me to just get back on the heroin.
Yeah.
Try and self-manage this than to stay in the system. And, and I had other ways of getting bits and pieces and things. But But my best method for coming off heroin, I was importing ketamine from India. I went over to India and spent a few months out there.
How would you get it imported?
So ketamine in liquid form, you could buy it from a chemist in bottles.
Okay.
Because it was an animal tranquilizer.
Yeah.
And then you would take a 2-litre bottle of Evian. Yeah. This is a 1 litre.
Yeah.
So a 2-litre bottle of Evian, you'd pour it in and it would look like water.
Yeah, it looks like...
It has no smell.
No.
It's just transparent.
Yeah,
it looks exactly like water. So we'd bring in 2 bottles of... And you could bring in water in those days.
Yeah,
you
on
can't
the plane.
anymore. Yeah. 2 litres in one hand, 2 litres in your bag. That's 4 litres. That's 4 kilos.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
When you put it in a microwave and you heat it up and you let it evaporate and it leaves a crystal, you chop up the crystal and that becomes the powder.
Oh, I had no idea.
Anyhow, it's also an anaesthetic.
Yes.
Right? So when I wanted to come off heroin, I would just mainline ketamine in liquid form.
Ooh, sounds dangerous.
Well, it's pretty reckless.
Yeah, reckless more, yeah.
and I would inject ketamine and I wouldn't feel the withdrawal symptoms of the heroin.
Yeah.
And then if anyone came over to buy drugs, I'd just mix in MDMA. So not only did I not feel anything, but I loved you enough to give you a conversation and do the deal. And that was probably the most successful way. I would do that every week. I love Mark Twain's quote, "Giving up smoking is easy. I've done it hundreds of times." It's not about stopping, it's about staying stopped. And every time the weekend would come, I'd want to go out and party, and I didn't have the insight to know that if I had a beer or a spliff or a line of coke, that it would lead me straight back to the heroin. So every week I was doing it. Whatever. One day, some girl was at my squat buying hash, I think, or weed. It was weed because we were getting a golf bag full of weed at the time. And she noticed my stash of methadone.
Yeah.
And she said, "There's meetings for people like you." And she took me to an NA meeting.
Wow. Even though she was there to buy drugs.
Even though she was buying drugs. Yeah. The irony of being 12-stepped by someone that was scoring drugs off me does not go unmissed.
That is quite cool.
But I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So I went to this meeting with her
in
West London. And I'm very fortunate because on the wall of the meeting, there's the 12 steps and the 12 traditions. And I read the 12 steps at that first meeting I went to, and I believed in them.
Wow. Most people balk at them, don't they?
I read them and I analysed them, and I thought that could work for me.
Yeah. Wow.
That could work. And I believed in it. I had faith in the steps before I'd even started, while I was still getting high.
Wow.
And sometime later, matter of weeks maybe, I'm in my squat in this yellow room, canary yellow room, blood splatters all over the place, ripping out syringes. I'm high on cocaine, naked, not because I'm any perverse, but just because when I was doing cocaine I would sweat so much and manically rearrange things and tidy up things and
imagine.
So it wasn't about porn or anything. It was I just got naked because I didn't want to soil my clothes. I'm high on cocaine. For some reason I wrote a letter, and I have this letter somewhere or other, and it's a bit cringeworthy when I read it, but it reads, and essentially the first word is "Dear God."
Yeah.
And I'm not into God. I'm not a religious guy. I'm not in any way connected to God. But for some reason, this letter started with the words "Dear God." But it wasn't the typical, "Hey God, get me out of here and I promise to never do it again." It wasn't that. It wasn't, get me out of this prison, I promise I'll never do it again, then go and do it again. This letter was, "Dear God, I'm going to stop this. And when I do, I hope you help me feel better."
Wow.
So it was a kind of reverse thing. It wasn't saying to God to help me. It was saying, "God, I'm going to do this. And when I do it, I just hope that I feel better."
Wow.
That was the depths of my emotional illness and my spiritual malady. Was that I felt so dreadful about myself that I just wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
And then we got evicted from this squat. It was Christmas. I remember sharing a 10 bag with my mate and half a packet of crisps each, half a Mars bar or something. Yeah. And I ended up going back to my parents knowing that they weren't there and that my little sister was there. And I went and I came home. I didn't have a key or nothing, but she let me in. She was my little sister. So I told her I was a little bit ill. Just needed somewhere to stay for a little bit until Mum and Dad got home, and she was just delighted to see me. She was a young little hippie, she was 16 or something at the time, and I was 29. No, so she must have been 20.
Jeez.
Yeah, and she'd seen me as her big brother all this time, this really cool big brother who's going off doing all these things. But here I was just looking
She saw the real state. You were
8.5 stone.
Yeah.
And I'm very poorly. My skin is grey.
Yeah.
I'm not healthy. And I told her I had the flu, and she said, "Yeah, of course, stay here." And that was like December the 24th. And my parents came back on January the 6th. And I remember doing that cold turkey cluck, because that's what it was. I had a little bit of methadone, I had some benzos, and I had a load of vodka. And I drank my way through that cold turkey cluck, essentially, because the methadone went pretty quickly. Determined to try and get as well as I could by the time they got back on the 6th. And I remember watching things like, I had this little black and white TV with a dial for the changing of the channels.
Yeah, I remember those.
And I remember watching Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence one night. I don't know if you know this movie.
With David Bowie in it. Yeah.
And at the end, he gets buried up to his neck in sand and left there for 3 days before he dies.
Right.
And exposed to the sun in the day and the coldness at night with all these insects eating him in the ground as a form of torture. And I thought, if those poor sods can tolerate that during the war in service of their country, this little junkie can get through this cold turkey cluck.
Wow.
And that's what motivated me to do it.
Yeah.
And my parents came back on the 6th of January. And I said to my dad, "Hey, can I just stay here for a while? I'll go and get a job. If you can just help me with some food, that would be really useful."
Yeah.
And food and shelter. And my dad had met a guy called David Smallwood, who's a known addiction therapist.
Yeah.
And David had told my dad knew that I was using. He didn't know the depths of it, but he'd said, "What can I do for my son?" And David had told my dad, when he asked for help, send him to me.
Wow.
And so there I was asking my dad, and my dad said, "I'll give you food and I'll give you shelter, but you're going to phone this guy."
Yeah.
And I phoned David, and he said, "Come in and see me tomorrow."
Wow.
And I went in to see him, and David wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I met with the great Adrian Lee.
Okay.
And Adrian Lee, at that time, was 20-something years sober, probably about the same as I am now.
Yeah.
And it was the first guy I saw and met and spoke to who was sober.
Wow. It probably in a long time.
Well, I'd seen these people at the NA meeting, but I didn't really connect with them or talk to them. I just sat there.
Yeah.
But here was a guy that was sober and talking to me and wanted to hear about me. And, he essentially 12-stepped me into treatment. And I went into treatment the next day. I had a drinking session with my sister that night. I drank 1 3/4 litres of vodka. And that allowed me to sleep for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because my body's going like this, just going nuts.
Jesus.
And I turned up at treatment and I said, "Look, I've slept 16 hours in the last 10 nights. I just need something to help me sleep for a few days."
Yeah.
And they gave me benzos for 3 nights and that was it.
Yeah.
And I went into treatment and I spent 15 weeks in treatment, and treatment was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I won't go into all the details of it, but I obviously got into a relationship while I was in treatment, obviously. And found myself in sober living, or secondary care it's called, and back in London now, and splitting up with her, again, breaking my heart.
Yeah.
We found ourselves in a pub in Camden, drinking non-alcoholic beers, because we're both 30 days clean or something, alcoholically. Drank 6 in an hour. That is not healthy drinking.
Yeah.
And off the back of that, she splits up with me. I go out, and I know there's another girl in treatment that's using. I go and see her. We go and buy half a gram of brown, half a gram of white. Well, I buy that. Go back to her place, put it in my arm. And the last thing I remember was Ali G interviewing Posh and Becks on Comic Relief. March the 16th, March the 14th, 2001. The Friday night. I remember Ali G interviewing Posh and Becks before I overdosed.
Fuck.
And it wasn't my first overdose, it was my third. And I had one in France, which was just cocaine. I'd had one in India, which was just heroin, white heroin, really good heroin. And I'd had this one that was a speedball after being, I don't know, like 60 days clean or something.
Fuck.
And obviously I did the filters the next morning. She'd run away with the stash. The paramedics had resuscitated me. And the next morning was a Saturday, the 15th. Feeling all remorseful, I went back to my secondary house. the guys there could see that
You'd picked up.
and I wasn't going to deny it.
Yeah.
And I got honest with it, with the rehab, told them.
Yeah.
And because of my honesty and my sincere remorse,
Yeah.
my experience was that I had had enough exposure to 12-step fellowships and to 12-step recovery that I wanted what they had.
Yeah.
And
They could see that.
this relapse for me was
Yeah.
the persuader I needed.
Yeah. Was the last.
It was the
Last
it was
group,
I had the
yeah.
one more hit syndrome
Yeah.
in my head. I needed to prove to myself that I can use safely, and I
Yeah.
couldn't.
And you couldn't. Yeah.
I had this desire to use cocaine because I only went to treatment to stop using heroin,
Yeah.
and I couldn't.
So there was still some doubts.
Yeah, it was my persuader.
Yeah.
And so my sobriety date is March 16th, 2001.
Wow.
I went back to an NA meeting
Yeah,
that evening,
yeah.
picked up a white keyring, Fulham Road. And then I went back to a CA meeting on the Monday and picked up a white keyring at the Monday.
So you go to both fellowships.
There, well,
Yeah.
actually then I immersed myself in CA. I'd always been at NA, but from my clean time day, my sobriety day, I just immersed myself in Cocaine Anonymous. That's been my home fellowship.
Yeah.
There's my
Yeah.
tattoo.
Oh yeah! Wow,
Yeah.
love that. I'll go get a photo of that later.
Yeah, there's my CA one. There's my AA one, which is the program
Yeah.
I work.
Wow.
And then when I moved to Thailand, I thought I'd better get the NA.
Yeah,
thing
love
stamped
that.
in it.
Love that. What a story.
Yeah.
You see, I've seen you on Facebook and I've known you briefly, but I didn't know about this incredibly rich backstory of music, parties, hedonism, you know, spreading the love, spreading the joy, spreading the drugs. But then this is just the first chapter. It's mad.
So in those days, when I
Yeah.
got sober, Cocaine Anonymous, I loved the readings. I'd hear the readings, and I thought, that's me. Their explanation in We Do Recover of the obsession and the compulsion just fitted me so well.
Yeah.
So I immersed myself. There was only 13 meetings of Cocaine Anonymous outside of North America. There was 10 in London, 2 in Bournemouth and 1 in Brighton.
Yeah.
And in order to do 90 meetings in 90 days, there was only 7 meetings in London.
Yeah.
I had to get really busy.
Yeah.
And actually, I did 87 meetings in 90 days.
Jeez. Wow.
And I was living in my parents in Radlett, bunking the train. I saw this today. I took a photo.
Yeah.
To West Hampstead, so not paying
Yeah.
for the train fare, then buying a 70p bus ticket on the 328 from West Hampstead down to Chelsea Well's End
Yeah.
when it should have been £1. And it was taking me an hour and 3/4 to get there. The meetings were an hour long, and it was taking me even longer to get home.
Yeah.
But for me, it was quality time not spent in a crack house or shooting gallery. For me, that was taking up a big chunk of my
Big
day,
chunk of
and it
time.
was a good way of me getting dedicated and disciplined. We started selling speaker tapes, cassettes. This is before CDs, which is before MP3s for you young listeners. Cassettes, and I used to have a Sony Walkman which played cassettes, and I used to listen to shared tapes while I was traveling.
Yeah.
And I grew up on some great shares from Cocaine Anonymous conventions.
So you
Hearing
really
great
immersed
messages.
yourself in it fully.
Yeah.
So what point did the whole Asia part start? What made you choose to go to Thailand and once?
Oh, this is. I was.
Yeah.
This is much later.
I know, but we're already an hour and a half in, and people have short attention spans, so
Right.
I don't want to miss out on the good stuff.
So you don't want to hear about my relationship with chocolate. You don't want to hear about how I stopped smoking.
I do, but I think people will
All right.
let's
So
keep our focus.
I ended up getting married.
Yeah.
To a beautiful girl in AA, and spent 11 years married with her. I ended up working at that first rehab that I'd been to.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
I became therapeutically experienced and trained. My mentor was the great Dr. Robert Lefevre, still alive today. And so my addiction recovery dogma comes from Robert, essentially. That's how it worked on me. And at some point, sitting next to this guy called Perry in my meeting, in my home group, we started opening meetings. We just started opening meetings.
Yeah.
He turns to me and says, I'm on step 9, I want to build a rehab. And I said, I'll do that for you.
Wow.
So I built my first rehab for someone in 2004.
What did that involve?
What, building a rehab?
Yeah, I mean, finding the building.
Well, he bought he had the building, he had the
Yeah.
money, and I had to put all together the program, the staff, the bits and pieces, all the bits, of everything. and opened it with this small team and built it from 0 to 36 clients in a year.
Is this in Asia?
This is in Luton.
In Luton?
Yeah.
Wow. Whoa, okay.
This is 2004.
Wow. Okay.
So I was only 3-4 years clean. Built my first rehab, grew it from 0 to 36 beds in a year. Got a resentment with the directors because they, after a year, instead of wanting to reinvest in the housing stock and the patient care and the patient quality experience, they turned up with new cars and didn't want to give me any more budget.
Right.
So I left. I walked away after a year because I was built on my principles
Yeah.
and started TTP, Trust the Process, with a couple of other guys, Gavin and Tom. Went through that, grew that from 0 to 84 beds in 2 years. And by this point, I was burnt out, really burnt out. Met this girl, wanted to marry her, wanted to change the pace of my life. Maintained my equity, but stepped away from working at TTP. And they grew it massively after I left. They took it to, they became the largest provider of beds in the country. They did a great job while I was no longer working there, but just a shareholder. And I started my private practice, which is called Sober Services, sober-services.com. And there I became the first generation of non-North American people doing transportation, flying people around the world, taking them into treatment. Interventions, going to families' homes, learning how to talk to the family, coaching the family in such a way that we can confront the addict and get them to choose to come out of their denial and choose treatment. Recovery coaching, working one-on-one with people in their early days in a non-12-step environment. And sober companions, which was really where... so I was best known for doing sober companions around the world.
That's where you go and basically
you live in with the
you're a
client.
buddy with someone, keep an eye on them.
And I was working in the various sectors. I had some musicians and actors and things like that. But largely it was wealthy families. It is an expensive way. If you're going to ask me to come and live and dedicate my life to someone else's agenda and someone else's diary, it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, of course. It's full-time.
And you stay there for weeks
7
or months.
days a week. It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
You've got to keep your eye on your person all the time.
So Sober Services started in 2008. We were the first non-North American company doing all of these groundbreaking things. And so I grew my reputation, not just in the UK and Europe, but also in the US and around the world. And I would go off and do these gigs in different exotic parts of the world and come back to my wife. And I came to the conclusion I'd come back after being away for 2 months and I'd want some attention from my wife. And my wife would have to give attention to her 2 dogs, 3 cats and 2 horses. No, 2 dogs, 2 cats and 3 horses first before me. And I became number 8th in her pecking list. And I was getting a bit disappointed by this. I wanted to be centre of attention. We came to the conclusion that we loved each other enough to let each other go. That we loved each other sincerely, but yet we had different ambitions and goals in life. And mine was to go off and do big things and create things, and hers was staying at home, creating a nuclear
animals.
family. And so we separated in 2017. And by this point, I'd been out to Thailand doing interventions and transportations and things. And I could see the potential of growing my brand, Sober Services, not just in Europe and the Middle East, but into Asia.
Wow.
So I went there, moving there with the idea of doing that. We got divorced. I moved there, sold everything, paid off all of our bills, gave her the rest of the money, and just moved there on it, thinking, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. And it was all right. And it was all right. I moved there.
So it was a leap of faith initially.
Oh, absolutely. But it also, that adventurous side of things. I was
so it ticks a lot of boxes for you.
I was back to travelling again. I tried the whole straight life and wanted to go and do things again. I think I was 17 years clean by this point. 17? 16, 17? 2017,
and now, have you never been tempted in, because in Thailand, I mean, weed's legal now, and there's a lot of hedonism goes on. I mean, just a genuine question. Isn't it hard when there's women and there's booze and there's alcohol and there's drugs?
My recovery is solid. I had recovered when I was 18 months sober. At 18 months sober, I intuitively knew that I was never going to drink or use again unless I chose to, and I chose not to. Step 2 is about making realizing that we've been restored to sanity and we now have been given the power to choose not to do what we don't want to do.
Yeah.
Do you need me to talk about the steps?
If you want to.
I mean, step one is a statement of the problem. I'm powerless over my addiction and my life has become unmanageable. Or I'm unmanageable around my addiction and my life has become powerless or is lacking in power.
Wow.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm lacking in power, and as a result of lacking in power, everything's gone to shit. My life is unmanageable.
Yeah.
I can't get any of my affairs done. I can't get anything together. Step one is the education and the understanding that what I have got to is a place where I lack power, and as a result of lacking in sufficient power, my life is fucked up. Step two is a statement of the solution. Step one is a statement of the problem. Step two is a statement of the solution. A power that's greater than me can restore me to enough sanity that I can regain the ability to choose to do what I didn't have the ability to choose not to do previously.
Yeah.
It restored me to enough sanity to give me the ability to choose not to do what I know I don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
But the problem with my addiction was I couldn't stop myself from doing what I didn't want to be doing. I couldn't stop myself when I started. When I started, I can't stop. When I stop, I can't stop myself from starting again.
Yeah.
So if I can't stop myself from starting again, and each time I try and stop, I keep on starting again, I'm really screwed. I don't have the ability to stop myself from doing what I don't want to be doing.
Yeah.
But step two promises me that a power greater than myself can restore me to enough sanity that can give me the ability to choose to stop doing what I don't want to be doing. Now, I also understand that when I start, I can't stop, and when I stop, I can't stop myself from starting again. It means I've lost control as well as choice.
Yeah.
I didn't have the choice not to do what I didn't want to do, but I don't have the control once I start.
Yeah.
And that stays with me for life. Even though I have regained the ability to choose not to do it, I also know that if I was to choose to do it, I wouldn't be able to stop myself once I started.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to control myself. So it's the knowledge that so long as I'm able to dedicate myself in a way that brings a power greater than myself into my life, I'll always have the ability to choose not to do what I don't want to do, and therefore I won't start to do something that I can't stop myself from continuing.
Wow. You broke it down so succinctly there. You made it sound really simple.
It is really simple. Step one shouldn't take too long. It's an education of the problem. Step two is an education of the solution. And once you've decided that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity, you can spend as long as you want choosing what that power is going to be. But the ironic thing is that the power isn't you.
Yeah.
But the longer you're in this program, you realize that the power is within you.
Oh, wow.
It's inside me. It's not me, but it's inside me. And I can tap into that.
Jeez.
Right? That's what spiritual growth has led us to believe, that the power that we find is within ourselves.
Yeah.
And after a while, we get so much power, we just get to give it away.
Yeah.
So initially, I was getting the power from you to keep me sober.
Yeah.
And then once I've got some power, I give my power away, and that helps me stay sober, and you get some of that through osmosis.
Yeah.
So when they say recovery is possible through osmosis, or isn't possible through osmosis, it's not actually true. There is recovery through osmosis if you're giving away enough power, and that person wants your power. But the real program is actually steps 3 through to 9. That's the program.
That's where you need to put the work in.
That's the action steps.
Yeah.
Came to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. Okay, great. Now let's do it. Make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of a God as we understand God, whatever that God is going to be for you. And it can be whatever you want. I've got no opinion. For me, it isn't a deity of any religious sort. It's she looks like Alanis Morissette these days. And she lives in nature. And she talks to me. And if you were a psychiatrist, you would diagnose me as schizophrenic. The relationship that I have with this woman, and yes, God's a woman, has to be. Of course, God's a woman. She's loving, she's proactive, she's creative,
Nurturing.
she's forgiving, she's generous, she's kind, she's understanding. She's very nurturing female energy. And if you have a problem with me talking about God as a woman, then just consider my God to be your God's mother.
I don't have any problem.
Good,
Yeah.
but some of your viewers might.
No.
They might come from this.
Everyone's entitled to their own.
And it's
For
not.
me, it's the ocean and the sea,
Perfect.
the power of the wind,
Perfect.
the feel of the rain.
Well, I don't like the
storm.
rain, but yeah.
No, but it's powerful stuff. When
Yeah.
you feel that rain pelting your face, you know that you're just a small human on a big piece of land. For me, that's...
When you live in the tropics and you experience a rainy season, you know that you're powerless.
Mate, tell me about it. So, Ian, do you get more satisfaction? Because when you just...
Hold on, let me just say this, right?
Go on.
Because then the way I take
Yeah.
people through the steps is in a day.
Wow, that's how they used to do it.
That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Step 4, 6, 7, 8, and then 5.
Wow.
I'm resentful at because this affects my part in this is, my character defect is, my character asset is,
Yeah.
my amend that I need to make is, the way I'm going to make this amend using my character asset is.
Yeah.
And then read all that out to your sponsor
Wow.
in step 5.
That's interesting. I've heard of that order before as well. Yeah.
So I take people through the steps that way.
Yeah.
And I only do the resentment list. I don't do the sex and the harms and the fear stuff.
Why not?
Just because that's what I've been exposed to.
Yeah.
I think you can do and explore the steps in greater detail further on down the line.
Yeah. So
but when
this
you're
is trying
getting
to save
sober,
someone's life.
you're in the obsession.
Yeah.
The whole point of the steps is to build a wedge big enough between you and your obsession. And if you work the steps in this way and you have this movement of realization, because ultimately the step 8 will lead you to understand that it's all about forgiveness.
Wow.
Step 9 is about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Asking for forgiveness, giving forgiveness, being forgiven. All the dimensions of forgiveness. That's what step 9 is about for me. It's
really
about rebalancing my karma, making things right, and being forgiven and forgiving others. Wow. And we go through that in a day, and that forgiveness is able to build enough of a wedge between me and my spiritual malady to let the light in and allow God to come into my life.
Enough for things to fruit.
Step 10 is steps 3 through to 9 on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It is the program. Step 10 is the program. It's once you're in step 10, it's autopilot. And steps 11 and 12 are really interesting.
Huh.
I love steps 11 and 12.
Tell us.
So step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us. Oh, and can I have some power to carry that out, please?
Yeah.
So what I need to know is, what is God's will for me? Oh, and can I have some power to carry that out, please? That's the only thing I'm asked to know about in step 11. I'm not asked to pray for an end to world famine or world peace or changing government or a new house or a parking spot or a new girlfriend. I'm not asked to pray for a new job.
Yeah.
I'm only asked to pray for knowledge of what God's will for me may be, and to ask for the power to carry it out. So what is God's will for us? That's the question of step 11. And that's an individual question.
Yeah.
But for me, what is God's will for me is answered in step 12. This is why the program is so much simpler than people make it.
Yeah.
Step 1 and step 2 is the statement of the problem, statement of the solution. Step 3 to 9 is the program. Step 10 is doing the program. Step 11, you're asked to find out what God's will for you is, and it's answered in step 12. Having had a spiritual experience as a result of all these steps, God's will for me is to try to carry this message to other addicts.
Wow.
That's it. Oh, and to practice the principles of learning how to carry this message to other addicts in all my affairs. So I came to these rooms and I learned how to behave, and I learned how to treat other people, and I learned how to be amongst people, and I learned how to treat people in all of my affairs.
Yeah.
I took my program on the road and I'm like this in all of my affairs. How I am here is how I am everywhere. And I do my best to try and help other people.
Yeah.
And when I try and help other people, they may or may not smoke crack, but whilst I'm trying to help them, I'm not smoking crack.
Yeah.
And with a bit of time, you get better at trying to carry the message to other people, and more people seem to get some of your power.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can see they want what you have.
And that's the cycle of it. And I'll tell you how I got to this conclusion, because this is really beautiful.
Yeah.
My sponsor, Nick the Stitch, said to me...
Is he your sponsor?
Yeah.
I know Nick the Stitch.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Said to me, Ian, I want you to explore religious dogma. He did not tell me to shave a hole in the top of my head and start wearing purple robes and molesting children. He didn't tell me to do any of that. He didn't tell me to join the synagogue, the temple, the mosque. He didn't tell me to do anything like that. He just told me to see if there was anything I liked in religious dogma. And actually, the one thing that really struck out to me was the Dalai Lama living in exile from his people in India, from Tibet. Brutally treated by the Chinese who had gone in there. And yet he was preaching messages of love, forgiveness, compassion, understanding, generosity, kindness, charity, all these really big words, these cool words that I'd read in the big book, that I understood, but I'd never used in my vocabulary. I'd never used the word compassion, empathy, understanding. I understood what they meant, but I'd never used them in my vocabulary until I was reading the big book. And here was the Dalai Lama using all these big, nice, cute words. And the Dalai Lama said, a spiritual life is one being of service to others. And the penny dropped, because you guys had told me, come to Cocaine Anonymous, come to 12 Step Fellowships, be of service, get a service commitment. And I was a man of service. I got really involved. I rolled up all my sleeves. I opened dozens of meetings. I was involved in conventions for many years. I was the fundraising and entertainment chair for Cocaine Anonymous. Made a lot of money buying and selling tapes and CDs and putting on parties and introducing ravers in recovery for CA and doing loads of stuff. I was became a world delegate and went out there every year and created the first areas and the first districts, and was there when the European region was formed, was there when the UK region was formed, was there when the central UK area was formed, when the London area was formed. I was involved in all of this stuff. I've always been dedicated to service. At first service was in meetings, frontline service, and with time it was behind the scenes service, backline service. And I do more back of house service than frontline. So Dalai Lama says being a spiritual life is one being of service to others. This is a spiritual program. You're telling me to be of service. Having had a spiritual experience as a result of these steps, we try to carry a message to other addicts to practice these principles in all my affairs. That's the conclusion of what God's will for us is. And it's as simple as that. I interrupted you. What was your question?
Oh, I was just getting blinded by all the science. I love it. No, I just thought as a random question is, you're lit up about this stuff and you're very passionate about it. What's more satisfying to you, having opening up a successful recovery centre or seeing one addict recover? And how does that combine?
The reason why I'm still in this industry 22 years later is because I still love giving an addict back to their family after they've completed treatment and seeing them stay sober.
Must be
getting
satisfying.
message from people when they celebrate a year, getting messages from people as they celebrate their milestones years down the line. I think the oldest living client of mine, because there were others that have died sober, but the oldest one that's still living is a guy called Barrington, who is in Luton.
Oh, he's coming on the show.
Mr. B?
Yeah,
okay.
Big Barry.
Big Barry.
Yeah,
so he's my oldest living client. Who's come through my services in some way that I've had a professional impact on.
Wow.
And I think he must be over 20 years now.
Yeah, he's just celebrated a birthday.
So each time I see him.
So you helped him in his early days. That's amazing. So, wow. He'll be happy that you've been on the show then.
Yeah. I'm very fond of Mr. B.
Yeah. He's very
B.
softly spoken, nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, I tease him a little bit, but I love him. And, I help build a lot of fellowship. And so the question is fellowship and my professional life. And actually, I've always been immersed in fellowship, always been immersed. And even now, living on my island, we build meetings, we open meetings, and I attend meetings, and I'm part of that fellowship. Though on my island, we have one CA, Steps at Sunset. We have 3 NA, 2 AA, and an ACA for trauma.
Are they mostly Europeans that go there, or do you have locals and Asians?
There is a Thai fellowship, but not where I am. The Thai fellowship is in the south, and it's all very NA, and that's cool. But I'm just involved on my little island. I live on Koh Phangan, which is the full moon party hedonistic destination of the world.
It is,
and yet we built this rehab there that's super successful. With probably.
How many people do you reckon you get in there or through there?
Well, typically I have between 20 and 30 clients at any time.
And they would come for a month or 3 months?
Between 1 and 3 months,
And sorry, talk technical, but I don't know any of this stuff. Would someone pay for a package? Like I want a 3-month package and they get room, board, feed,
everything's
counselling,
all included.
Support.
Yeah,
But I bet it's not cheap.
If you purchase 12 weeks, I'll give you a deal based on if the 4-week price or the 8-week price or the 12-week price. I give you discounts.
Yeah, and are your customers?
I want to encourage people to come for 12 weeks.
Yeah,
that's
Is that what you would recommend? Like, don't go for 3 weeks. That's not going to help you.
Always, but actually, we do more than just addiction at Holina. We do addiction and trauma recovery there, and emotional regulation. Wow. So, I'll give you a crude example. I don't know whether you're drinking because you're depressed or you've become depressed because of your drinking.
Right.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to treat your addiction and I'm going to treat your depression.
Yeah.
I don't know whether trauma has triggered you to go down this road of ketamine abuse.
Yeah.
Or if the ketamine abuse is what's got you into so much trouble, you've created a load of trauma for yourself. I'm going to treat your trauma alongside your addiction. And trauma takes longer. It's really fresh.
Revolutionary.
Progressive. And trauma takes longer to heal and recover from than addiction. Addiction is kind of straightforward. Yeah. If you keep doing these suggestions, you're going to be okay. But trauma is a much longer process.
Things can trigger
Emotional regulation is a long process. And so those people really need the 12 weeks if they can afford it.
Yeah. And is it mostly private paid?
It's all private paid.
So it's not insurance
I've
companies?
always worked in the private sector. Right from the start, from the very first place I've worked at. I've always worked in the private sector. PCP and TTP used to sell to the statutory sector when I was in the UK, but everything I've done around the world, I've always been in the private sector. Why? because I don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
I want
You're
you
your
to,
own man, aren't
I
you?
want you to pay
Yeah.
for my services, and because you trust me in what I'm going to deliver you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be told, limited by an insurance
Yeah.
company, oh, you've got to do it in this amount of time.
Yeah.
I want to be able
You
to
do
do
it
the
the right
job.
way.
I want to do the job that I can best do for you based on your budget.
So how many people would you have working there? Because obviously you can't deal with 30 people.
I have 4 sites,
You got 4.
4 Holinas.
Wow.
At the Holina that I'm at in Koh Phangan
Yeah.
that I live on, I have about 90 staff.
Jesus.
Then I have
Yeah.
Holina young persons, 16 to 25-year-olds in Cyprus.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I probably have 15 to 20 staff there.
Jesus.
I'm going there next week.
Yeah.
I go between all the sites. I have Holina in Israel, which I'm not so involved in, but that's got another 15 staff.
Jeez.
And then I have opening next month, Holina Healing, which is going to be just dedicated to trauma recovery and pain recovery. Not pain maintenance or pain management,
Yeah.
but pain recovery. So we're going really cutting edge with that. We are very progressive. We've got a
know you just-
hyperbaric oxygen chamber
Wow.
to rejuvenate
Yeah,
your
yeah,
blood
yeah.
and get your body recovering physically. We're doing NAD infusions, IV infusions, to reflush your blood and inject it with all types of vitamins and minerals, get you feeling rejuvenated that way. And we're doing stem cells. Now, I don't know much about the stem cells, but again, it's another side of how can we
So
restore
you're really
you.
pushing the limits of what's the normal, just here's a dry house, go and you'll get sober. You're giving the whole therapy. If you've got the money,
We're
you can
thinking
get
beyond
well.
that. But
Yeah.
the beautiful thing of it is that based in Asia, the
Yeah.
cost of living is so much cheaper. I mean, the treatment that I sell in the UK, in Thailand,
Yeah.
in Koh Phangan, 12 weeks of treatment is about the price of 1.5 months here.
So
And it'll be
give me an
1.5
idea,
months
ballpark.
of a,
Yeah.
like 15,000, 20,000 pound.
Well, that's what you charge.
I think my
Yeah.
12-week program is about $24,000, which is about 18,000
Yeah.
pound.
That's not a lot, considering you
Considering.
can save someone's life.
And we're on a private
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get 6 to 8 one-to-one experiences a week, as well as the group stuff. We're doing
Dinner
2
board.
psychotherapies, a somatic therapy, which is really fresh stuff. Holistic therapies like breath work.
Yeah.
We're doing sauna and ice baths, massages, and all this in glorious sunshine. And I've lost my tan because I've been out of the UK for 2 weeks. But
And is it regulated there? Can anyone just
Yeah.
rock up and say, I want to have a healing centre?
you can do, but
Yeah.
we have got 2 licenses. We're licensed as an enhanced detox, so we
Yeah.
can dispense controlled substances like
Yeah.
methadone, and as a residential rehab by Thai Public Health. Absolutely,
Wow.
you've got to do it correctly.
Yeah.
It's easy to be a cowboy,
Yeah.
but
I know
it's
in
always,
Asia
but
there's
it's
a
more
lot.
important to do it right.
Yeah.
It's always more.
So I know
important.
Chiang Mai is popular for recovery places.
Chiang Mai's got a load of Chiang. Yeah.
Actually, I think, were you up there for a while?
I lived there for 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. What made you choose Koh Phangan?
You want that story?
Yeah.
So I left
We'll
Chiang
end on
Mai
that
to go
one.
to Phuket
Yeah.
with my great friend Russell, and we opened this absolutely 12-step place.
Not Russell Brand.
No, Russell Sedman.
Yeah.
Called The Park, Phuket Addiction Recovery Clinic, pure 12-step place. And then we opened for 6 months, and we're just getting on our feet, and then COVID hit.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
And Russell said, we'll have one director in quarantine and one director out. I said, I'll be out.
Yeah.
And so he locked himself in with all the clients, and I locked myself out. And as Thailand had a pretty strict start, and they closed the borders of Thailand, but you could travel within Thailand as long as you were wearing a mask and
Yeah.
being sensible. And so I went off, and I thought I'd have a look around Thailand, see if I can find people that want to go into the park, either for sober living or for treatment even. And Thailand in Phuket was dead. Phuket was dead. It was like The Walking Dead. You could film zombies there.
Yeah.
There was nothing. Tumbleweed. So we drove to Krabi. It was dead. I drove up to Hua Hin. It was dead.
Yeah.
I went to Bangkok. Bangkok was dead.
Yeah.
Just
That
full
must
of
have looked odd.
homelessness.
Yeah.
Full of street homelessness and people in despair without any livelihood or income. Dead. Went to Pattaya. It was dead.
Jesus.
Went up to Chiang Mai. It was dead. Went to Chiang Rai. It was dead. I then went down to Koh Samui to speak at an NA convention that would normally have like 300-400 people at. 35 people were there.
Yeah.
It was dead. And while I was in Samui, someone said, oh, you should go to Koh Phangan. I went to Koh Phangan. It's the next door island. It was alive.
Wow.
Everything was happening there.
Yeah.
There was yoga every day. There was parties on the beach every day, magnificent sunsets. There was ecstatic dance, sober raves all the time. Yeah. There was loads of dirty raves as well. Yeah. And everything was going. No one cared. We didn't even have any COVID. I said, I'm staying here. We didn't have any COVID on the island for the first 18 months of the pandemic. And it was full on. Yeah. No mask wearing. The only time you put on a mask was going to a 7-Eleven or shop. Everyone was doing whatever they wanted. I realized this is the anarchic dream that I've been waiting for, that I've been looking for. Yeah. This is it. This is the place I've wanted to live all my life, where no one cared. The economy was run by the digital nomads. I was running sober services, and I wasn't getting any money from the park particularly, but I still had my private practice, sober services. So I was managing, global stuff, cases around the world, and bringing money into the island. And so many of us were bringing money from Europe and the US and Australia into the island. Economically, Koh Phangan was the only part of Thailand that thrived during COVID.
Wow!
I was managing a resort just as a volunteer, just as an exchange for somewhere to live. I had 85% occupancy rate during 2021 or whatever it was. 85%. You go to Samui, it was at 5%.
Wow.
So I stayed on this island, and I'd heard a rumor about this Israeli guy that had tried to open a rehab and then just shut it at the beginning of COVID. And one day in November, I sat next to him, coincidentally, at a meeting. My name's Jossie, I'm an addict. I looked at him. My name's Ian, I'm an addict. He looked at me. He had heard that there was this guy that built rehabs that was on the island. I had this guy that tried, and we went off to his house and we just exchanged visions and stories and ideas. And
hi, it's Jenny. I'm the producer here at The Gratitude Show. Let's just have another look at the retreat, and we'll jump back to the interview in a sec. Please like and subscribe to the channel.
Holina, back to yourself.
With the vision of, let's create a 12-step rehab that's holistic and is a bit woo-woo and goes out there and does some things that are a bit more unusual. Breath work is an unusual thing to bring into a primary care setting, but the freedom that clients are experiencing. I don't know if you've ever done breath work.
I've not, but I'm really interested to know more
about it. The first time I did it, I re-experienced the 3 overdoses from my life.
Wow.
And it brought them to life. I was like, wow. Yeah. I'd never really thought about them again, but here I was experiencing them. Other things that we do, inner walk meditation. So not just sitting still, but walking meditation, where you're walking, taking 23 paces, turning around, taking 23 paces in silence for 4 hours.
For 4 hours?
For 4 hours, for 4 days in a row.
Shit.
The peace and the ability to sit with myself and the ability to rediscover and get back to myself that I found
your authentic self
from this meditation was profound and gave me a new spiritual experience. Whilst I was on in COVID days, I had a great spiritual experience going back to ecstatic parties, sober raves, and dancing for the first time in 19 years.
Wow.
Since I got sober. But then I did inner walk meditation, and it allowed me the ability to just sit and be with myself and to be comfortable in my own skin without having to turn the music on, turn the TV on, make sure something. I can just be still. And so these principles of mindfulness and wellness have taken my recovery to new dimensions.
Ian, you're such an interesting guy. I could chat to you for another 3-4 hours.
I told you I could talk.
Yeah, but it's interesting stuff. And your knowledge about the steps and your definitions is absolutely fantastic. I think really, really good. I'd love next time you're in the UK to come back and we do a part 2. And also next time I'm in Asia, I'm coming to Koh Phangan.
Please come.
Yeah.
Come to Koh Phangan. I'll give you full hospitality. Come and stay on the beach.
No, I'll just come on my own, man.
I'll give you a room on the beach. I'll take care of you. Yeah. Absolutely.
No, that's brilliant, mate. I appreciate it. Ian, thanks so much for coming on the show. We normally end the show, I come around there with Chris is around and he'll take a photo of us and that's kind of how we end the show. Is that all right?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.